Hello, Phil Croshaw here, and it's another live stream. And it's now the 19th of August, and we're still going strong. And today I'm going to answer your tech questions. So the other day I did a show all about the tech, all the various different. It's surprising how many questions people have got when it comes to tech. And today's show, I'm going to answer some questions that people have sent me in via email and social media on the back of that particular episode. So I'm going to just play the intro to give people a chance to come in, and then I'll just answer a few questions. If you've got questions as part of this show about tech, anything to do with live streaming or filming or podcasting, then please do pop them in the comments, and I'll do my best to deal with them. And hopefully won't be too long tonight. Again, it's a late one. I keep saying this, don't I? It will be early. It will get early, I promise. But I've just been busy recently. Okay, so we'll just do the intro, and then we'll crack on and answer your tech questions.
I want to be there and baby dance the night away. I let my head down if I want. Don't you just get tired chasing fame and being pretty all the time? Doesn't sound like fun. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. My shoes off if I want. Let yourself be free and maybe you will find that there is more to life than being pretty. Honey, let's just face it. Baby, let your head down, be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes off, you don't have to hide it. Baby, let your head down, be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes off, don't hide it. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box.
Okay, so as I say, Phil Croshaw here, and today I'm going to be answering your tech questions. So bear with me, I'm going to glance down because I've just taken a printout of the various questions I've been asked about tech. So we'll crack on because I'm probably right slap bang in the middle of most people's tea right now. And what day are we on? Wednesday? Is it Wednesday? Yes, Wednesday. So Coronation Street. In fact, I might have ruined your Emmerdale as well. Not that I know what time these things are on, but I do. Right, okay, so the first question I got asked was, do I ever use a headset with a microphone as opposed to just one of these that you'll be used to seeing? And the answer is, yeah, sometimes. So this particular one is, I think, is an Audio Technica BHP1, I think it's called. And this is really great for when you're moving around a lot more. And obviously with these, this is the Shure SM7B. You have to be a bit closer to it. This particular mic at the moment, I've got a what's called a radio head on it, not the band. And that's because these bulbous, if you know, it's quite bulbous if you look at it. They give a boomy sound, which is what you get on radio. And I do actually have a slimmer version of that as well. So that's that. So this is the Audio Technica BPSH1. I mean, all these tech always has weird and wonderful, pretty ridiculous references. I don't know if you've noticed this. Some of you might have noticed this. So this is really, really good mic and headset. There is now, of course, because it never stands still, does it, in the tech world, there is now the Audio Technica BHP S2, which is supposed to be, supposed to be an upgrade on the one, but this one is perfectly adequate for what I need. There are also headsets that you can get that are a lot thinner than this, just very small little things that go in your ears and just come down here with a small mic on, and they're obviously, you can't see those. They're not as obviously prominent, if you like. So these are more what you might call the radio gig. You know, these are the sorts of things you see them wearing on the pitch side on the at the football when there used to be crowds. Do you remember those days when there used to be crowds at football matches? And you'll see them on the side of the pitch with this sort of headset on. One of the next questions I got was, what headphones do I use? Somebody mentioned that they noticed that I had Sony on. They had Sony on the side, and you can see that. Yeah, you probably see that. Yeah, these are fantastic, these headphones. I think they're about 15 quid, believe it or not, and the Sony. And I got 4 pairs of these to go into my Rodecaster Pro, because when I'm doing podcasting with different people, I need everybody to have headphones on, and it gets very expensive if you're talking about really, really expensive headphones. So I can definitely recommend these Sony. They're from Sony. They're about 15-20 quid. You'll find them on Amazon and all other reasonable retailers and all that kind of thing. So yeah, they've got different colors. I've got blue, red, white and black are the ones that I've got. My kids use these as well when they come up, and they have great fun with these, and it's a miracle they've not broken them, but they haven't, so that's probably a sign, I guess. I do have some expensive ones somewhere, which I do sometimes use. I think they're up here. Here we go. Yeah, I think there's a double XM 3000s, I think they are. Don't quote me on that. But these are fantastic. These are Bluetooth headphones, actually. And the quality of the sound in these is amazing. But these are overkill for what we're talking about here. Something like these Sonys are perfectly adequate. But if you've already got, I think this is the point, if you've already got good quality earphones for listening to music, then definitely it's worth using them. And there's the Bluetooth, as I say, or they have a cord. So the cord just plugs into the headset when it's into the earphones when you need it, and then the earphones plug into what I've got here, which is a Rodecaster mixer, and they go in straight into there, or they can go actually into your laptop as well. So yeah, overkill, but sometimes people do ask, can I use what I've already got? And the answer is, in most cases, probably yes, you can. So put those back up there. So hopefully that answers that one. Yeah, big debate that goes on, and quite often a regular question is XLR mics versus USB mics. The difference really is the USB's mics plugs directly into your computer. And they are perfectly good for vlogging and live streaming and things like that. The XLR are what are called the professional mics. So the XLR mics have these on the end of them. These plug into the actual mixer, and then the other end plugs into here. There you'll see it's plugged into there, and that's an XLR, and that is because if I can show you, it's 3 pins. You can see that, and those 3 pins plug into the mixer, and then this other end plugs into the microphone. These here don't have that. These don't have that, but they do have, this one is an XLR microphone, this one, and this plugs again into the mixer, into the mixer. So actually that one suddenly went a bit quiet. I don't know if that's gone off a bit. Anyway, we'll soon find out. So might be a loose connection. Sometimes you get them. So yeah, so there was a time when people used to say use XLR mics for professional, and there's probably a lot of professional companies will still use XLR mics and will recommend using XLR mics, and I can understand that, but the truth is that quality of the USB mics nowadays are such that you probably, an average bod wouldn't be able to tell the difference, I don't think. So what mics do I use for out and about? Doing interviews out and about, well, a varied number of different mics, but probably my favorite, which I mentioned the other week, is the Rode Wireless Go microphones, which I think I've got down here. The Rode Wireless Go, that's these. You see this? These are amazing things. I mentioned these the other day, and on these are Rode Wireless Goes, and you have one on your lapel and one plugged into the camera. Absolutely fantastic. Those well worth investing in. And I actually have two, so I can put two onto guests if it's an interview, and it's great because you can just wipe them down with a with wipes or sanitizer or whatever, and then you've got the safety aspect covered as well. Yeah, a lady this time asked me about. I mentioned I had the Sony ZV-1, or that's the American ZV-1. Is American. It's the ZV-1 from our point of view, and I do, and I've just not got it with me at the moment. I've just realised I've not got it with me, but it's a small camera. It's brand new. You'll find it if you go online. ZV-1. Loads of YouTube videos about it, and she was asking me what I thought of it. And I think it's brilliant, actually. It's compact. To get geeky for a second, it does 4K 25p. It does 100 frames per second for slow motion. It does 250 frames per second and short bursts for really, really hot slow motion. This is where I'm getting really a bit nerdy and geeky. External mic, so you can plug in mics, external mics into it as well. You don't have to rely on the onboard mic that you get on normal everyday camera, which can be pretty rubbish actually. Most cameras have a mic built in, but usually they're pretty rubbish in comparison with the external mics that you can get. It's got a hot shoe mount, so you can plug the microphone in and pop it on the top. You can use the Rode Wireless Go on it as well. That was just showing you a minute ago. So yeah, brilliant camera, and autofocus is superb. Colors, I think, are really, really good. You can use it for photos as well as videos. And I think the greatest thing, is you can pop it in your pocket. And I went out yesterday and I literally had it in my jeans pocket, and I was there to pull it out, because you can imagine when you're out and about sometimes, and some of you might experience this, and you're vlogging or you're recording something in your camera or whatever, it can be a little bit awkward when people are walking past thinking, what's that guy doing? You do get that, and those of you that do it will know exactly what I mean. You just have to overcome that and just get on with it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway and all that. So yes, I think she was called Mary actually. So Mary, ZV-1 new Sony camera, definitely, I think, thumbs up from my point of view. Excellent. And all the reviews on YouTube tend to say the same. Another question I got asked was, is the 80D any good? Because I mentioned last week I had a Canon 80D, which I've got at the moment, I'm using at the moment, and I think it's still a fantastic camera, and you can still use it for live streaming, and it allows you to get that blurry background, which I guess you might be able to see behind me at the moment to a point, and it's called depth of field is the official term. I've mentioned it on this show before. So 80Ds are brilliant. Excuse me, well worth the money, and you can get second-hand ones now, fair bit cheaper, but they only have 1080p compared with 4K on the Sony ZV-1. But the 80D has interchangeable lenses, and it became very, very well known as a result of it being the main camera of a worldwide phenomenon vlogger called Casey Neistat, who used to fly around on a boosted board, on a skateboard, motorized skateboard in New York. Great to watch. Fantastic footage, and he used to do one of those every day on the 80D, and the actual sales absolutely went through the roof when he became the celebrity vlogger who was using the 80D, and that's probably why I bought mine, if I'm honest, when I think back. So yeah, great camera, still well worth the money. Another question I got was, do I use camcorders or do I use interchangeable lens cameras? And the simple answer to that is yes, and it depends on the circumstances. So I think I showed it very briefly the other week. So I use a camcorder called the XF 400. This is it here, and this is what I use for professional production interviews where I'm clients are paying for it or whatever. And these are just brilliant pieces of kit, quite a decent size. And there's probably other things on the market now which are maybe better and a little bit cheaper because it never stands still. But I can highly recommend this camera if you're getting more into a more professional scenario, the Canon XF400. And I'm not sponsored by Canon, and I'm not being paid by Canon to say that. So just to make that clear. So that's the XF400, and I put that on a tripod. And again, I can put different mics on that. I can use the wireless Go on that and such like. What else was I asked? Oh, yeah. Do I ever live stream on my phone? Was another question I got and that was asked by Sally. Yeah, I don't give second names. I don't think it's fair, really. But Sally said, "Do I ever live stream on my phone?" And the answer is yes, I do. You can't best place to live stream on your phone is probably something like Instagram, but you can do it on Facebook. You can do it on obviously on LinkedIn if you've got permission, if you've got the facility, if they've given you permission to be able to do that. You can do it on LinkedIn or Facebook and such like. What I always say to people, though, is try to invest in something that will give you better audio quality on your phone, because the microphones on your phone are basically pretty rubbish. So what I always suggest is invest in something like this. And this is called the Rode Video Mic Me, believe it or not, the Rode Video Mic Me. And that plugs into the phone like that. Cool, isn't it? Whoop, that way, that's better. Yeah, that's the Rode Video Mic Me, and the quality of that compared with the internal mic is just significantly better. So you can still do the old recording, you can still do the live stream, but you've got a better quality mic on there, which I think is well worth the investment. Price 40 to 50 quid, I think, depending upon what you're looking at. Amazon, pretty sure it's 40 to 50 quid. So that's definitely worth investing in. The alternative to that is plugging what's called a lav mic direct into it. And lav mics I've mentioned before, but I don't think I had one to show you. So this is a lav mic. And these plug direct again into the phone. But you need the right adapter, so get the right adapter, because this is a 3-ring and the other's a 2-ring, and you need the 3-ring, because if it's not 3-ring it won't work. But again, YouTube it or Google it and you'll find out what it is. So you plug that into the mic, same thing. This is a Samsung phone, and Note 8 I think this is, and then you've got the microphone on the other end. You attach that to your lapel like that, and then you can walk around and talk, and that will give you a lot better quality than your onboard internal microphone on the phone. One thing to watch for, though, is that is wind noise. So if you're outside, that will give you a bit of protection, the little nozzle thing there, the foam bit there. But what you really need is a little furry. Remember I mentioned dead cats and dead kittens the other day when I was talking about the tech the other day. Yes, and I'll remind you, it isn't a real dead cat and it's not a real dead kitten, just in case people get all upset about it, because people get sensitive about that kind of thing, don't they? Get there's little furry things about the same size as that, but they're furry. And again, if you just Google it or YouTube it, and Amazon sell them, they're not very expensive. I think they're about 10 quid maybe for a couple of them, and pop those on the top, and that'll stop you getting wind noise on your microphone. So that's that. I'll crack on because I'm conscious of time. The Rodecaster Pro I mentioned last week. I've had a question about that. Somebody was saying that it's very expensive, but is it worth the money? Because they are about 550 quid, I think, last time I checked. And the answer to that is absolutely, I think they are. They're brilliant things. Again, I'm not going to go into it now because I showed it a little bit last time. I can do a proper demo of it another time. Rodecaster Pro. If you not know what it is, if you're interested in it, YouTube it, You Google it and you'll find out what it is. But it's like a mixing desk, and it gives you access to all sorts of different things. You can plug multi cameras into it. Sorry, multi microphones into it. You can play sounds like that. So you can play
The Journey podcast
music like that and that kind of thing. So that's the Rodecaster Pro. Okay, so I'm going to move forward quickly now because I'm conscious of time. Oh, what time are we on now? Yes, so I need to move quickly. One of the questions I was asked is, do I I'm just going to make sure this is plugged in right. Do I use a teleprompter? Was another question I got. And the answer is yes, I do use a teleprompter, but not really for the live streams. I tend to use teleprompters more for clients and more for where I'm presenting to camera. So sometimes for clients will ask me to do a weekly motivational talk to sales staff. That's something I've done before now. I want it to be correct and succinct, and sometimes the client will ask me to include certain things, and I don't want to be looking down every 2 seconds or trying to remember it. So then I do use a teleprompter. This is one I use. I've got a couple of these, but this is the one I use at the moment. This is the Desview, and as you can see, this here is a mirror. This is a mirror here. And the phone goes into there, or you can use a mini iPad as well. Phone goes into there, and you can actually then slots onto the lens of the camera, of the 80D, and then I can or the XF400 as well, and it clicks on, and then you can read it, but people don't really know you're reading it. So that's what the newsreaders use all the time. If you ever thought that they were talking without any kind of prompts, I don't think you would think that, but that's what they use. And because it's a mirror, you can't see the text that's scrolling up as a viewer. And that's the way that teleprompters work. So definitely recommend teleprompters. And as I mentioned, you can use your phone for that to scroll the text. Or you can use iPads, and again, just do the research. You'll find all the information you need is online. Just put teleprompter, how to use a teleprompter. But definitely recommend a teleprompter if you want to do this more professionally and you want to come across as confident and as knowledgeable. Then it's probably best to use a teleprompter. I don't recommend them for live, because I think for live it's more about the jeopardy. Again, it's more about the what might go wrong, and it's more natural. Whereas I think if you're reading it, it can look a bit unnatural. So now and again I will, but most of the time I don't use them for. I don't use the teleprompters for live streams. So, for example, I'm not using one tonight. But maybe I'll do another show. We've got another 10 or 11, 12 days to go before the end of the 31 days in August. So what I'll do is I'll use a teleprompter, and I'll tell you I'm using the teleprompter. And actually recently with a client, I proved a point, and he was asking me about should he use a teleprompter. And I said, well, I think you should, because it will help you. So he said, well, can you give me an example of something to show me how it might work? So I've said, well, tell you what. I said, I don't know anything about dolphins. And he went, right. I said, so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to find some information about dolphins. I'm going to copy and paste it into the teleprompter, and I'm going to deliver a mini documentary for 30 seconds, 45 seconds about dolphins. So I actually then delivered this thing to the camera using the teleprompter about dolphins. And I sent it to him, and he said, I couldn't believe it. You sounded as if you were an absolute expert on dolphins. And I'm not, obviously. So this is the sort of thing you can do with teleprompters. Just a word of advice on teleprompters, though, make sure that you don't read it like obviously read it. So, hello, my name is Phil Croshaw, and I am here today to talk to you about technology on cameras. When I use technology, I tend to use the best equipment I can get for the price, but so you get the gist. So don't make it robotic, because if you make it robotic, trust me, you'll lose everybody very quickly. So it's hard enough to keep people, even if you're not robotic. So if you're robotic, you'll lose your personality. Oh yeah, somebody mentioned that they noticed the other night that I had coloured lights on behind me. Yeah, actually, I've got them on. I wasn't sure if I got them on. So you'll see there are some coloured lights. Let's get that right. Yeah. And what I usually do, it's a bit light at the moment, but what I normally do is I put the lights behind the TV, then they shine up behind the TV. Why do I do it? Just to make the visual a bit more interesting. And the actual lights themselves, I'll talk about them again on another show, but they are actually off Amazon. And not sure if I've got oh yeah, I've got it here. You do actually get one of these with them. And they're absolutely fantastic because you can, they can flash. You can strobe them. You can see them pulsating there. You can smooth, just change the colours. I think that's an orange. Obviously, it's bokeh. It's blurry backgrounds. I think that's turned to green. That's changed to blue. And you can turn them on and off and dim them and make them different colours, and as you can see. So yeah, so I actually think they're pretty good, pretty smart. So that's the coloured lights, and yes, I use them sometimes. And then the last question I had was about lighting for vlogging, and did I use lights for vlogging? Well, yes, I do sometimes. And the best one I tend to recommend is this one, which is the Aperture ALM9. And again, this has now been updated, so you'll find that there's a better one now even than this one. I don't know if it's powered up. Let me just check. Oh, yeah, there you go. So and you can change the brightness up and down, which I think you can probably just about tell. And you can just pop this. Obviously, I've got it on a stand here, but this just goes on top of the camera. So it'll even fit if you want to use it as part of. You've got your phone on a holder. You can add this onto it, so you can use it with a mobile phone if you're streaming or you're recording on a mobile phone as well. So you can do that. I think that's it, actually. I think I've answered most of the questions. Yeah, that's about it. So thanks very much for the questions that you asked. Now I'm just going to have a quick check what we've got on the comments, because I'm sorry I got into such a... Who have we got? Yep, I've got Michael Whitaker having a... Hiya, Mike. This is interesting. Mike Whitaker from Captive North, fantastic company. Really, really big fans. Going to hopefully doing some video training with them, actually, hopefully once we get lockdown out of the way. So, yeah, plus it's a pop shield. Yeah, that's right. See, this is what happens when you're live streaming and you get the professionals on. I think he's probably talking about the... he's talking about that, the little thing. Yeah, probably anyway. Yeah, they're basically to try and get rid of what are called plosives. That's the P's and the B's. Peter, if you're going to be doing a live stream and it's Peter picked a peck of pickled pepper, it's quite a good idea to have something like that on, because you can't say it, can you? That on, because it helps with the plosives. And I've tested actually some of these mics with and without these shields, and definitely they're better with them. So yeah, thanks for that, Mike. And another one from Mike. It's worth taking this on board, by the way, because as I said, Mike is a real professional, MD of Captive North in Trafford Park. Great video production company, real high-end stuff. And Sennheiser makes good headphones, and they do. And they also, of course, as Mike knows, they make some cracking microphones as well. I think it's one of those things where microphones are very much a personal choice. Rode are what I would call the middle ground. They're not cheap, but they're not really expensive. So people have different opinions and different. It's like cameras. You know, you get Canon fans, you get Fuji fans, you get Sony fans, and all you know, and phones as well, isn't it? Like Apple iPhone fans, Samsung fans, and so on. But Sennheiser definitely are a great make for headphones and for microphones as well. What else we got? Yeah, you can get professional mics, and the prices now as well are always they've gone up a bit because there's been such a big demand for them with the lockdown. But having said that, you can get professional mics of all sorts. In fact, the truth is, you become a bit like the bunnies in the headlamps, and that's why I think we get a lot of questions. And I'm sure Mike's the same at Captive North, because you get the questions mainly because you're. Because people are they don't know where to start. There's that much choice. So, you know, and it's recommendation. And sometimes, quite often, when people ask you the question, you kind of go, it depends. It all starts with, it depends what you like. It depends which you prefer. It depends on the budget. But as a guideline, my view is that if you want the middle ground, I'm thinking of it in terms of, you know, you've got Harrods and Selfridges, and then you've got Aldi. Well, Debenhams is probably somewhere in the middle, or it used to be before it went bust. But that's another show. So they're probably the Debenhams. I think Rode are the Debenhams, if you like, of the marketplace when it comes to microphones. And then another one that Mike's gone. What are the 3 pins on an XLR mic? Absolutely no idea. And I know he's asked me that question to catch me out. Absolutely, categorically no. He's asked me that question to catch me out, and actually, I don't know. I have no idea, and you know what? I am not even interested in finding out either. So there you go. Mike. Thanks for the question, but I have no idea, and I don't want to know. So answers on a postcard. I have no idea, and that's why I'm the amateur, mate, and you're the professional. So that's some other comments. We've got just another comment here. Oh, blimey! I've got another Captive North guy on here as well. See, this is what's happening. I'm being stalked by Captive North professionals, and this is a disgrace, if you don't mind me saying so, chaps. Trying to catch me out here. Yeah, so this is the answer to the question from Jay called Jonathan Chestnut, but he's known as Jay at Captive North, and he's actually answered the question, answered Mike's question, in phase, out phase, and ground. I guess that's ground. So in phase, out phase, and ground. I knew that, actually. I just didn't want to show off. Yeah, I know. I didn't know it. So that's it. Hopefully that's given you a few answers to a few questions, and hopefully Mike and Jay have informed you and entertained you a little tonight, which is great. And thanks very much, guys, for the input. It's really good. As I say, I work with Captive North on a number of different things, and was doing a number of live streams with them during the lockdown time. And there's their show still rolling. Really great show. Check out Captive North on YouTube, and I'm sure you'll find them, and some great shows and some great examples of live stream as well. And for those of you that have been following this show, you might be aware, or if not, check it out on one of the previous episodes. Tom Marshall was actually from Captive North, was a guest on the show, and he was talking a little bit about some of the things that they'd done on live stream. And I actually showed, if you remember, I actually showed a couple of examples of what they were doing. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Jay. The check's in the post. I know why Jay's saying it was a pleasure working with me is because it was obviously his opportunity to really show off, because I didn't know what I was talking about. So it's always good to be working with the amateurs, isn't it? Jay, really, because if you're working with the amateurs, then it's not difficult, is it, to look good? I'm just saying, right? But I'm not just saying. It sounds a bit naff, but they are the professionals. And I do some stuff myself, basic stuff. But if there's ever a need for more professional video outputs or video production stuff, then they're a partner of Geeky, and I'd be straight to those guys for producing the high end quality stuff, which we wouldn't get involved in or get into. Okay, that's gone longer than I expected and than I thought, as usual. Now I need to go because I need some tea. If you're watching this from America, I think you call it dinner. I've no idea. But that's it. I've got some great guests coming up. I've got somebody called Sam Fitton, who's an amazing magician. I'm hoping he'll do a bit of magic for me. Coming up, I think that's next week. I have Dave Scholes on, who's talking about wellness and mindset and mental health and all that kind of stuff. Dave's a great guy, very, very knowledgeable. He's coming up. And Ronnie Carson, who I've mentioned before, who runs Emergency Exit in Ashton, and he started to do his escape rooms in a virtual online version, and he's taking America by storm. Brilliant. I know he's probably nervous about it. If he's watching this, he'll know he's nervous about it. But I can tell you now, if you want an example of adapting in a difficult, very difficult market, Ronnie Carson from Emergency Exit is the guy who will give you a very clear, some inspiration, I think is the word, some inspiration on how and what you should be doing to adapt your business model in a post-pandemic world. And I've said before on here, and I'll say it again before I go, the reality is if you don't adapt, you will probably be in serious trouble. Because the world is looking very different for the next 6 to 12 months. And if you're in Manchester, it's even worse because it's looking like there's a lot of people ignoring it, and I'm not going to get into that. But I'm going to be in September, just to finish off. I'm going to be bringing a few of the guests and maybe one or two other people into panel shows. That won't be every day. It's too much of a demand on my time, but I'll bring a few panel shows together and get people involved in that, and we'll create some debate about some of the things that have been going on and some of the survival tactics that people are looking at for the post-COVID world that we're now living in. Right. That really is it. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're watching this recorded, you've not joined me, you've just watched it recorded, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's just great that you can be bothered to watch just a few bits and pieces that I put out there. And in all honesty, I always say the same thing: inspiration, information, ideas, and insights. And if you've just got one little thing, one little tip, one little bit of inspiration, and now you're an expert in the 3 pins on an XLR plug because of Mike and Jay, then that's got to be a bonus. So that's it, folks. I will see you very, very soon. Bye for now.